Okay, today we got a taste for a meatball sub. We've got our ingredients all laid out. We've got a plan in mind, a little hard work, a little TV ingenuity, and we should be good to go in just a few minutes. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to combine 2 eggs, some breadcrumbs, a little Parmesan cheese. Sorry, Lauren. A little more. My secret ingredient, chopped green olives. Oh yeah, babe, a little more. There. We're gonna mix that all up really good. Let's try that again. There. We're gonna mix that up really good. Now, I am a big fan of having a lot of moisture in your meatball. So, after combining all of these items, I'm going to take an onion and I'm going to grate that up really good, maybe about a third to 2/3 of it, and I'm just going to drop that right in there. And that's going to act like moisture or moisture for my meatball. There. And I'll be right back in a second with that. There. Now we've got our onion. We're going to drop that right in there on top. Yeah, I use my little cooking sheet for it. Whatever. Keeps all the moisture in one spot. Makes it easier to control and manage. There. Now this acts like my wet foundation. I've already got my binder in there with the eggs, my breadcrumbs, and now I'm just going to combine my meats to this. I generally like to put in beef and sausage, but everybody's got their own preference. You know, I have a sister that swears by ground turkey. I have a sister that, maybe I think she's going tofu. I don't know. But hey, if it's a meatball, it's got to have meat in it. So, give me just a second and we're just going to mash this all up together. This is just the manual labor part of it. There. Give me just a minute and we'll come right back and start making our meatballs. Okay, so we're collecting our meatballs. We're shaping those up really good. There. We're just going to kind of wing it on the size. Now remember, my goal here is to make a meatball sub. So I want to start with big meatballs. Get those going nice and good there. And I know what you're thinking. Some of you are going, wait a minute, that guy put olives in the meatballs. Well, that's true. When you think about flavors and palate, think about the fact that when you're dealing with meat and sauce, the meat is really kind of bland by comparison to, say, tomato sauce. Tomato sauce and vinegar are very acidic, so there's a bit of a complementary behavior that goes on because of the acid that's in the vinegar, likewise the acid that's in the spaghetti sauce. So what we find is that the vinegar or olives add a little more moisture, a little more texture, and it gives a meatball a certain kick, a certain bite. So it's a good combination. If you're not sure about it, I would recommend that you try it, vinegar that is, or excuse me, chopped olives in your tuna fish in place of pickles. Or maybe even try dill pickles, because dill pickles are pretty sharp too, and they've got a pretty good bite. Okay, now, just a second. Okay, now we're going to make our sauce. I've got my vegetables, got my little cutting board, there, and I've got my basic Kroger Parmesan Romano pasta sauce. And I know what you're thinking, well, why would you do that? Why would you take a pasta sauce and add stuff to it? Well, why do you think? That's what they do. They don't take the stuff that they get. Kroger doesn't make this stuff. They get it from Ragu or Chef Boyardee or somebody else, and the manufacturer, just makes it to a lesser degree of flavor, or maybe even a lesser ingredient level than what they put in their name brand products. So I take it a step further. I never use name brand store stuff. I always use store products. And I always juice it up. Whether it's spaghetti sauce or even the Alfredo, I'll add garlic to it. I'm going to actually slice up a whole tomato. Preferably, I'll take an overripe tomato and cut it up. The idea being, when you do this, you're adding thickener to your sauce. There. And we're just going to saute this in a pan with a little olive oil and garlic. I'll probably then, when I'm finished, add in some basil, thyme, oregano, maybe a little parsley, a little crushed red pepper, just a little crushed red pepper. Jessica doesn't like it too hot. So there. Now, the size of the cut is entirely up to you. Personally, when I'm going for small, or when I'm going for a sauce, I like small. It just takes less time to break it down in the heat. And again, we're going for thickness, not chunkiness. This isn't spaghetti sauce per se that we're doing, although it could also become spaghetti sauce depending on the rest of your ingredients. There. And I'm going to chop up these and these, add them to my sauce, and I'll be right back. There. Now that's what our vegetables look like as they simmer. We're going to add a little garlic to that, and just let that simmer uncovered. And again, we'll probably put in our little spices, basil, thyme, oregano, maybe a little parsley, crushed red pepper, and let that saute together really good for a few minutes. And then we'll add in some of our Kroger spaghetti sauce. Okay, so our vegetables have simmered down quite a bit. And this comes a turning point for some of you. If you're a true vegetarian spaghetti lover or even a vegan, this is where we sort of have to depart. You know, I regret. I know you're hearing this, Tishana, and I love you, baby. But I'm going to put in my meat now, and you'll notice. Well, I said my meat. This is what's left over from the meatballs, and we're just going to leave that right in there and let it cook along with the rest of the vegetables. You leave your vegetables, you let them cook uncovered so that you have moisture escape and vaporization. There. There, and you just let that blend in together. There's all kinds of spices in there and flavors. And this becomes the base for once you add in your tomato sauce. Now the sauce itself has a lot of liquid in it, so you don't really have to add liquid unless you're just if you like a more wet sauce. I, however, prefer a nice thick sauce. If you wanted to keep moisture in, you leave the lid on, and that moisture would collect, and you'd have more of a soupy texture, which I really don't like in my spaghetti sauce. So we're going to let this cover up a little bit, cook up a little bit more, and then we're going to check on our meatballs. Back in a minute. Now, our meat's all fully cooked, and as you can see, there's hardly any liquid, and that's what we were after, because we want a nice thick tomato sauce, or tomato spaghetti sauce. There. We're going to add in your store-bought Kroger brand. Look at that. This was in the refrigerator, so you can tell it's plenty thick. Now to this, I might add just a little moisture, just to make it easier to manage. Look at that right there, baby. There's joy right there. Okay. Okay, now our meatballs have been roasting in the oven now, uncovered, for about 20 to 30 minutes. Let's take them out and see how they're doing. Huh? How about that right there? Now, some people would say you can go right ahead and just serve that with your spaghetti and meatballs. Well, spaghetti and meatballs was never the goal. Today, it's a meatball sub. So, give me just a minute. I'm going to put it all together, get my bread going, and we'll have a rock-out meatball sub. There. Now on the mad dash to make it happen for you with a quickness, with a lot of flavor, a little zip. We're going to take a little olive oil, seasoned olive oil, sprinkle that on our bread. Take a little basil, top that off. Right? Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would you do that? Because you eat every single bite. Why shouldn't every single bite take you someplace that you ain't been? The party is going to be in your mouth. I want you to have a good time. So, there we do that. And just to take it up a notch. Now remember, we put a little crushed red pepper in the sauce. So it's got a little bit of a kick. Not enough to make it hot, but definitely enough to flavor it. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just take a little pepper jack cheese and just spread it in a couple spots. Now this is always all together to taste. This is my preference, my recipe. It's my video. Hello. This goes in the oven. I'll see you in about 2 minutes. There. Now. Okay. Our bread's fresh out of the oven. You see that? Nice golden crispy brown. We're going to take a couple of these fabulous looking meatballs. Cut those in half. Lay them right there. Here's a big pretty thick one. Right? Like so. Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, baby. I hear Emerald. I'm channeling Emerald right now. Gonna lay that right there, okay? There. Let's try that. It's my kitchen. I get permission. Nice. We're gonna take our sauce. All right. Beautiful. Okay. That, my friends, is how you do the meatball sub. Bam! Nice.